You're listening to the Disciple Podcast.
You're now in session with the Disciple Podcast.
Hey, this is the very first ever Disciple Podcast, and with me I have Virtual Riot and Josh from Modestep. Guys, how's it going?
G'day, Skipper.
Hello.
Okay, so I think we're going to start off how we're going to start every podcast, with whiskey. Right, we've got some... I'm just going to turn the Rockstar logo to face the camera.
No real reason either.
No reason.
Every podcast has a camera, right?
Yeah. Every podcast now. That's a Valen. No, hang on. Data did this. What the fuck is that?
What's what?
It's not an ice cube.
That's
It's like an ice dagger.
It's a glacier.
All right, ice glacier. I'm gonna
All right.
put some.
I'll take it.
Put some of that. You want some as well? All right.
Bartender Dodge is making us
Quality drinks
Not
here,
enough.
guys. All right. So this is Woodford Reserve. This is a nice bourbon that I think is good.
Bloody better be.
I'll trust your judgment.
A little bit more.
Healthy amounts.
For those at home, I am filling up. If you're not watching on video, I'm filling up everybody, including producer Dirta's Rockstar cup.
Thank you.
With whiskey. Here we go, guys.
There's a definite
Cheers.
glug's worth there.
Welcome to the first ever podcast.
Right.
Let's
You know what I've
this is a
done?
momentous occasion.
I've moved the mic back to the point where I now can't reach for anything. So
I'll hand it to you.
Thank you,
Hold
pal.
on.
There we go.
Acoustics come first.
All right.
Okay,
Right.
here
Always
you
on the
go.
Disciple
Thank
podcast.
you. Perfect. There
Cheers
we
to
go.
the first podcast.
Cheers.
There's no way.
cheers.
Yeah. There we go. Perfect.
Hey, excellent. Clunk.
Imaginary
Right.
one for you, D.
Oh god.
Delicious. All right, so coming up this episode, we have got
That
exclusive.
is good. That is good.
Excuse me, guys. I was talking.
Sorry, but that is good. Sorry. Continue.
Jesus.
Continue.
So coming up this episode, we've got exclusive tunes from Virtual Riot and Modestep that you've never heard before. Very exciting stuff.
Very true.
So yeah, I guess before we get going, let's get the subject for this episode. Producer Dirta, could you please pass us an envelope that you've prepared earlier?
Yes,
Oh.
I have an envelope, and it has a question mark on it.
Ooh, question mark.
I mean,
Mystery.
It's a mystery subject.
do I
What
have to
could it
open
be?
it? I gotta open it.
Yeah, ideally, yeah.
All right. So look. It's like the envelope is an even smaller envelope now.
Yeah, we run out of printer paper.
It says technology and the future.
Technology in the future.
Technology in the future. Is that
So-
what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so I definitely didn't know that subject was coming, but thank you, producer Dirta. So yeah, I think we're just going to kind of chat about stuff and play some music, and
Yeah.
you know. So I've got some kind of questions that I thought we talk about, because I know you guys are quite into tech stuff.
Little bit.
Yeah. So
Wait, you prepared?
Yeah. So I was thinking we kick off with virtual reality porn. Valentin, why don't you start us?
Oh, I just saw that at the Anime Expo this
I was
year.
joking, but never mind. But carry on. Go on. I'm not going to stop you now. Go on, buddy.
No, I went to the Anime Expo and they had this little area that was for 21 plus, and so you could try VR porn there.
Hang on, whoa. Back up a second. The
Yeah.
Anime Expo.
Anime Expo in Los Angeles.
So
yeah.
I'm guessing this isn't just regular porn.
No, it was 3D animated girls.
And
for
what do you
sure.
mean by try?
So no, the way they had it set up was they had people put on VR goggles and then they were dry humping a blow-up doll, and one of the controllers was taped to the blow-up doll so that when they moved it around, it would move in virtual reality as well.
Right, because the lighthouses sort of see the virtual positioning.
So
and all that stuff.
I walked in there and I just like saw someone dry humping this inflatable doll, and there was like 50 people in a circle around that person filming them. It was rather surreal.
Wow.
Why would they think that there would be any other reaction than that as well? When you're putting yourself forward for that, all you're getting there is guaranteed internet exposure at your perversions. That's bizarre.
Yeah, let's get some pictures up on Google here, buddy.
Did you try
Research
it?
that.
No,
Was there a big queue?
yeah,
That
that's
blows
probably why I
my
didn't try.
mind.
Describe the average QE.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to. I was there with my girlfriend there, and we were like watching it, and then they were like, "Oh, if you have a Vive at home, you can try it. Like you don't need the blow up doll. You can just download the software and try it." And my girlfriend was like, "Oh, let's try it when we go back home."
Have you?
Haven't tried it yet. No, haven't tried it. I wouldn't lie about that.
I'm unbelievable.
No, you wouldn't lie about that. That's why I asked you the question. Anyway.
I think I need to adjust my search terms here.
Yeah,
I
what
don't know.
are you typing in?
Virtual reality porn.
Oh, no, that's too broad.
That's
you're
just going to get you actual virtual reality porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, what I was actually going to bring up I mean, I'm glad I didn't now, but I thought we'd talk about, keep it kind of relevant to Disciple to begin with. So, do you guys think technology is going to continue to influence music, or have we already reached a technological plateau?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I can tell you by how irritating my laptop when it gets to 100% CPU that we definitely have not reached the...
Oh no, that's a technological dip.
Right.
We're back in another valley. Somehow we've gone back to stupid USB ports that...
Right, yeah.
And overheating and CPU throttling.
Yeah, exactly. So we definitely not reached the full potential yet. I mean, even I'm angry at my new laptop, so there's no way.
Well, I mean, what I was getting at was obviously before, people 100 years ago couldn't really, 150 years ago couldn't conceive any kind of music that hadn't already been made, right? And then electricity comes along, and then electric guitars come along, and that ushers in new things, and then synthesizers come on, and that ushers in new styles, and then computers come on with hugely powerful processing abilities where you can create virtual instruments without the limitations of any kind of analog circuits, and that moves music on, and now we've got all of that.
Yeah.
So the question is, do we go anywhere driven by technology, or are we kind of there?
I still have this little theory. It would need like a big investor like Native Instruments to put some money into this, but
or Rockstar drinks.
Yeah, no. The idea is, how video games have like their physics engines for like collisions and gravity.
An acoustic engine.
Exactly, an acoustic engine for real-time audio synthesis of an object. Let's say like you make a box in a 3D animation software like Cinema 4D, and then you can say, oh, I want this to be made out of metal or glass or wood and have this and that thickness, these dimensions, and then hit it with another object, and it'll
Does that
synthesize.
Not exist? Does that not exist?
Kind of.
Like Reactor, they have the steam pipe thing, right? But that's very much specifically to
it is going in the
certain things.
It's going in the right direction. It's a physical modeling and modal sound synthesis.
Yeah.
So I've seen some videos online by different universities where like people did research in this topic, and that stuff's really interesting. But yeah, I don't know how CPU intense this is, how much of a huge computer you would need for real-time synthesis.
It would be more so than graphics, because you're talking about like the physical properties of stuff that you would have to be very specific about how you program it in order to get the sound back. And I'm not sure whether...
It's basically, you're talking about the kind of the audio equivalent of like real-time ray tracing.
Yeah.
But like audio wave tracing.
Audio wave tracing. But then you would need to know the physical density and the weight and the every...
You need an air resistance simulation.
This sounds like the perfect night in for Valentine.
You need an air resistance simulation. You need like a room simulation. You could place virtual microphones, maybe even select what microphones they are. There's a software, I think there's a reverb plugin where you can sort of draw your own room, blueprint style, and even put up walls inside the room, and it will calculate what the reverb in that room might sound like.
So it's kind of like, not exactly one of those ones where they use a recording of a room, but a kind of like an algorithmic equivalent, but not just a kind of decay thing.
Yeah, it calculates the reverb from the parameters you've set. But then imagine you could say, oh yeah, what was it going to sound like if the walls were stone or wood, flat or coarse, if there was acoustic treatment.
Without needing one of those impulse response library things.
Yeah. It would completely just compute that.
Nice.
From scratch. So that's something I really want to see.
That would be a next step for sure.
Yeah, you could, if it was like a 3D animation software like Cinema 4D, imagine you had a violin and then you could say, oh, but what if it was made, I don't know, out of glass?
Yep.
Just go mental with the materials and all the stuff that's in there.
Or you could just design a really weird sounding room that had an amazing sounding reverb to it, like you're saying, Or you could really just bend all possibilities that we have. In the human world.
I saw another simulation where they were looking at the sound of water and water flowing if you drop something into water. So you could, if computers became strong enough, have a video game where you don't have any water samples at all, but if you drop anything into like a lake or something in the river in the game, it'll calculate what it would sound like depending on the shape of whatever you dropped in there. Just as an example, there's a really good video on YouTube where they show how far they've gotten with the synthesis of water noise.
They are actually doing it. It is actually like...
Not in real time.
So I was going to say that they're doing
that's just held back by processing power, right? Same with ray tracing and
Same, exactly. Ray tracing was like undoable 10 years ago. Like, I couldn't even think of putting that into a video game.
10,000 computers in a data center.
Exactly. And now NVIDIA is like boasting with, we can do this in real time now in video games. So maybe.
So it really needs one company to step forward and be like, right, I'm going to be the one fronting this, and then it will start developing. Because at the moment you don't have someone kind of making any money off it, so no one investing any money into it.
Which is why I'm only finding these obscure videos of university projects where
we're also a very niche market as well compared to like video game consumers,
True.
which is a
Yep.
gigantic global market. You know,
Yep.
you know, music producers is pretty small.
Very small now, yeah.
And obviously, the days where a sampler would cost as much as a house is, those kind of economies of scale just don't fly anymore because there's just no need for it. So stuff has to be cheap or it's not going to sell.
It's a sad
Something
fact.
where I think this could be interesting is if you have a sample library compared to this simulation, like your sample library of, I don't know, a piano might be 100 gigabytes or something, just doesn't, there are some libraries that are that big compared to the program being rather small because it's just software, just algorithms, but it might sound believable as well. I don't know whether,
so I guess
if it will.
Similar to this is what they've done in guitars in like the last 5 years. If they've now got profiling guitar amps, so you can basically go to a really expensive studio, find a guitar amp that you love the sound of, and you can run impulses through it using this. What's it called?
That's like the Stephen Slate microphone emulation type
Kind
stuff.
of, yeah.
Like circuitry emulation.
Exactly, the Kemper. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kemper have been doing it, and now you can basically profile an amp and then throw the amp away, and you've got that amp as it sounds forever.
Yeah, they were doing that with the Focusrite Liquid channel. That was the
Okay.
kind of thing. Do you remember that? That was like 10 years ago. When I was in university, they had that. And that was kind of probably a similar thing, I guess.
Is it profiling in that?
I think it's like an impulse response type thing.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, I guess we should get on to the first dub plate that you guys have.
Time for
brought in.
music.
Who wants to go
yeah.
first? Hands
Go
up.
on, Valley, obviously.
All right.
All right. Can I say something?
Of course you can.
something about it? So, it is for this is a video I've been working on with. Oh, let me start that again. So
No, you
can
go
edit that
ahead.
out. No, so it's for a video on someone else's YouTube channel. It's gonna come out in a bit. But the important thing about this track is, so in the beginning you'll hear a piano sample, and then everything else in the song from there on, except for the drums, is made from that piano sample.
That's a very Virtual Riot way of making music. I like it. All right, what's the name of the tune? It's pn35a.wav on
Yeah,
there. Is
because
that
that's the name of the piano file.
Ah, cool. Everybody, pn35a.
Virtual Riot remix.
You're now in session with the Disciple Podcast.
Selector inside. All right, nice. So how did that all come about, Valley?
So it's for a video by this dude from Toronto, Andrew Huang, and he makes lots of really cool videos about music production that are just super entertaining. And there's these series of videos that he makes where it's 4 producers having to make a song each out of just one sample. Mm-hmm. So this is for the 3rd installment of that, and yeah, that's the sample everyone has to work with.
Nice. Did you know about this, Manager Ross, or is this just news to you now and you've discovered that your clients made this song?
Honestly, I wasn't listening.
Oh, right, great. That's amazing.
Oh, that was
He knows.
That was the best.
He's heard the song. He's heard the song.
I was wondering where the lounge music was.
That's a good point. Well caught. You know what? You actually caught something good. What the fuck is the lounge music, buddy?
Sorry.
Jesus.
There it is.
Can't get the staff,
There it
can
is.
you?
Oh, it feels a lot better with the lounge music.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we have it. It's the relaxed music. Everyone can relax, have some lounge music and some Woodford
All thrown
Reserve.
off.
My anxiety has dropped
Some rock star
several
ice.
levels.
I think we should talk about tech that kind of comes into our lives a little bit. What stuff are you guys looking forward to other than the VR porn hentai stuff that's coming out? What are you guys looking forward to that's kind of coming soon?
What am I? Oh, I'm looking forward to the most boring, mundane little updates.
They're probably not boring to us. So,
Okay, here we go.
Now's the time, Josh.
All right. So I'm waiting for Alexa to be able to push notifications out to Alexa, because at the moment, in order for Alexa to speak, you have to be like, Alexa, can you touch my pants? And then it will do it. But we're waiting for
especially
an update.
in VR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could link the two.
Yeah.
But there's going to be an update soon that means that you can programmatically get it to talk to you whenever you want, and that's going to be really cool because it's going to be a bit more. Then you can walk around your apartment and it will just like talk based on where you are and things like that.
Ah.
So yeah, if you wake up at a certain time, you can get it to say, "Good morning, Josh."
Right. So it's kind of like trying to make it like, what's the assistant in Iron Man? What's the assistant? Not
No
Jarvis,
idea.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of making it like Jarvis. So
Exactly.
it'll kind of soothe you in a slightly intimidating dystopian way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good morning, Josh. I saw you had a nightmare. I left some milk at the foot of your bed.
There we go.
Like that.
Yep, exactly
That'd
that.
be great.
And now they're starting to do these little RFID chips, which are literally.
Yeah, that's really fucking terrifying. You're about to
Tiny,
insert them into
tiny.
something.
Oh no, you can just like put one on your glass and then you could be like, Alexa, where's my glass? And it'll be like, your glass is on the table in the kitchen. And then you'll know exactly where. But they're tiny.
Like
they're
a tiny
stickers.
tile,
They're
but
like
much, much smaller.
Way smaller. Like so small you need a microscope to see it. And it's self-powered off its own antenna. It just uses radio frequencies to power itself. It's got no battery or anything like
All right,
that.
so there's just like just the kind of naturally ambient. Well, I say naturally, it's not very natural, is it?
Yeah.
But the kind of
Radioactivity.
ambient radio signals just going through the world.
Yeah, exactly. It powers itself off that. And yeah, in China now, they're making them into paste. So you can literally paste it onto tiny little things.
Wow.
They're making shops where you walk in, there's no one who actually mans it. You pick up your items, you drop them down onto a little shopping bag area.
Yeah.
It tells you exactly what items you've got.
The
and
Amazon
then
store does a bit like that, right?
that one's based on like cameras and imaging and stuff like that. But this is
right,
just
okay.
a tiny little RFID chip, and then you pick up your things and the door doesn't
That is
open
amazing.
until you go, until you paid. Yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I mean, I can pretty much imagine what the Chinese government are going to be using this for, but it's still very interesting stuff. This is, you can't stop the flow and tide of technology in this kind of way.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, here's something interesting too, because you were talking about like shopping, and now I'm thinking about virtual reality again. Has anyone seen the movie Valerian? Terrible movie, but
Don't think so.
You're not saying it to me.
Terrible sci-fi movie, but
Oh, how and it's Valerian and the
Valerian
Thousand
and the
Planets.
city of the thousand.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
the planet of 1,000. This is such a like replaceable
I've
title.
seen it in like an airline movie list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the movie, at one part they're on like a desert planet, and so what's happening there is there's like the biggest store in the universe, but it's just this desert planet, and everyone puts on a VR headset, and then suddenly it transforms like this desert place into like all the storefronts, so they can VR walk into all the shops and everything. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. Like, yeah.
Well, the new Oculus. What's it called? Is it Oculus Go? No, not the Go. There's a new 6 degree of
Yeah.
freedom Oculus that's been announced recently,
wireless
and
one.
you will be able to like walk around, and because it uses inside-out tracking like the Windows mixed reality VR stuff, so you could pretty much do that already. And I think there was a demo I saw on the YouTube of someone walking around a field, and they were walking into like a church and walking out of stuff.
Well, they still need a good like treadmill. That's still the thing that everyone's waiting on is to be able to stand still and do all that stuff and treadmill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
but, I mean VR. Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned the treadmill stuff, because I went on one in Canada like 6 months ago, and it was fucking awful.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Really
it's the
bad.
resistance.
You're
You
like,
don't
you're
get
like
any
on these
resistance.
like slippers, and you're like trying to run, and it's like you run at like 60 miles an hour, and you're just going like this.
Yeah.
and makes you feel very motion sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go for it.
I did see this insane VR, not treadmill, I don't know what the word is for it, but like one of these rotating kind of things on Kickstarter for like $1,000. And it's like it's like got these motors and these wheels like this, and then there's this kind of like round chair you sit in, and it tilts you around. But it's like $1,000, and it'll create the sensation of like acceleration and deceleration by tilting you back.
Interesting.
And it works
okay.
with like flight sims and
Car games.
So it's
and
getting
stuff.
closer.
Yeah.
There was another one, another method I saw where it would kind of, it would kind of make it so that you would have to walk a curve in real life, but you walk straight in virtual reality. Like imagine, you want to like walk a long path in VR, but your room's not that long. So it would fake it so you would have to walk a slight curve that you wouldn't notice.
That's
So
so smart.
by kind of tricking your brain by turning the image to make
I
it
don't
think
know how-
that you're
yeah,
going
I don't know
straight.
how well that
You'd
would
still need a
work, but-
big room.
Yeah.
You couldn't do
Yeah,
it in here.
exactly.
You'd be like, yeah, I know I'm walking in circles.
Yeah. Unless
But
it just kept making you reset your position whenever you're about to hit a wall. It's like, and turn, and game continue, or something like that.
I saw one of the treadmills that was like, it was like a proper workout treadmill, and then it had another row of like little thingies, so you could walk in like both directions, sort of like overlaid. But the problem is, it would start moving while you were walking, and then it had like a really long slowdown time.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it would like reposition itself at all times. And years ago, I saw something where it was literally just like a little like
Loads of
bigger
ball bearings.
No, just a little bowl almost, like that you were standing in, and at the bottom of your feet were just some sort of cushions, and you were a little bit held in
that's
place
what I've
around your
been in.
hip.
I've been on that exact
exactly.
thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
terrible.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really bad.
Okay,
I was so excited. I was like,
Again,
oh
you
my
don't get
god.
any
It looked
resistance.
nice.
Yeah.
It's the resistance that you naturally when you're walking, you
Yeah,
get resistance, and you don't get that
do
on
it
the-
like that. Yeah.
Oh, because you're sliding back, and then that
yeah,
confuses
because
you.
your feet sliding and that confuses your brain, and then there has this kind of like speed up, slow down algorithm, I guess, to smooth it out, and it doesn't work properly. It gives you this kind of like floating sensation, and you move much closer. I mean, the thing is that like, all of these VR arcades use like proprietary software, so the games are always terrible, I guess, because of licensing issues. So again, makes you feel motion sick.
Have you been to the VR place in Tokyo? The VR theme park?
Last time I went to the one that's in Shibuya, right?
Yeah.
That was above like that's since last time I was in Japan, that's been in there. So I haven't been there yet. But we'll go in January.
I've done
excited.
it. Oh, it's really good. It's really, really, really good. And they add like fans around you, so when there's wind in the game, you get blown
Dude,
back.
they've got something like that at Dave & Buster's, a Jurassic
yeah?
Park thing, and it's genuinely good.
Yeah,
Like,
they
I
are
was
very
amazed
good.
how good it. Have
Yeah,
you seen
yeah.
that Dave & Buster's? It's based on like, I'm pretty sure it uses the Vive. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Vive, but they've got like it's like a roller coaster ride type thing.
like a rail shooter.
No, there's no shooting. It's not really a game. It's just an experience. But you sit in these chairs, and it's like one of those theme park 4D rides, and they've got the same thing. They got wind that blows wind at you. It tilts back when it moves,
Yeah, that's
and
what
like
I
you're
have.
in one of those Jurassic Park like kind of like balls moving around.
Oh, cool.
And it's the most convincing motion because they've perfectly mapped
Yeah.
everything, and it's incredibly convincing. You got to try it out.
That was actually one of my favorite things at theme parks when I was really young. Like those rides where it was basically just like a space shuttle looking bus that you sat down in, and then it was just a
screen at the front,
in
yeah.
Exactly. And it would just like move up and down and shake around to give you the sensation that you were going through
It's
a roller
like
coaster.
that with VR and fans.
Yeah.
I loved that when I was like 6 or 7 years old, because maybe it was able to fool me a little more back then. But yeah,
You'd be surprised how easy your brain still gets tricked.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that they've got one in that VR theme park that's like, it's kind of a boxing ring. You take your shoes off and you go and stand on this carpeted boxing ring, and it takes you on a flying carpet ride where you have to shoot things. But because they've got wind and it's also moves, this whole boxing ring is like, you really feel like you're there. Like really feel like you're there. And it's
wait, where was that?
that's in Shibuya.
Oh,
in
nice.
Tokyo.
Okay, yeah.
Are you coming with us in January for the few
When
days
are you
before?
going?
On the way to Thailand, we're doing like
okay.
3 stops.
Yeah, no, I'm going after.
3 nights.
But
okay.
I've seen videos of that VR arcade, and I really want to go there. It's
great.
We'll definitely do
What's
that.
the name of the island just in the Tokyo Bay that's like an arcade, like theme park island? You know where they have like, have you been there? It's
My
like full of
girlfriend
like
would
theme
know.
parks. Yeah. I went there and they had a this is like 2 years ago, and they had a multiplayer VR zombie shooter where there was other people in the room with you running
cool.
around with
Oh,
laptops
cool.
basically on your back. So, and you'd hear them like these Japanese girls like scream when the zombies came in like the real world around you.
nice.
I mean, the graphics were terrible. It looked like it looked like Quake 2 or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was
Oh, yeah.
really
Time
really
Crisis.
rubbish. Yeah, but anyway.
No, yeah, I found that interesting with the like even terrible graphics. If it's just like a really intense game, it can already have so much fun. Like me and my girlfriend downloaded just lots of free or $1 horror VR games.
Right.
When it would just be like like a haunted maze you had to go through. You had
Yeah.
to walk by like swinging the controller back and forth, kind of making a
The
walking
real
motion.
motion they call it, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was fun, but then the graphics were terrible, but you would still just freak the fuck out if you turn around and there was a ghost behind you, even if it was
Yeah.
like the worst looking ghost.
Dude, you've got to play Until Dawn, Rush of Blood.
Oh, it's so good.
That is amazing. It's on
So
PSVR.
good.
I've got
Yeah.
it. Next time you come over,
It's so good.
it's a horror VR shooter where you're on like a kind of like a roller coaster thing.
a rail.
And
Oh,
it's
so
the same
that's a
thing.
rail shooter.
There'll be
It's a
like
rail
an
shooter,
audio
yeah.
that will distract you to make you look right, and then
Yeah.
audio that will distract you to make you look left, and there'll be something in your face.
The thing about that game, though,
good.
is how it messes with your sense of perspective and how big things are. because suddenly you'll have a doll that's like this big, and then it's the size of a building, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, that game's amazing. I was convinced.
It's one of the better ones because the software is definitely the weak point at the moment of VR. Like, there's so many. You go on Steam and it's just like thousands of like shitty
crap test software,
basically tech demos.
I find this resurgence of rail shooters so interesting because that was an old arcade genre that hasn't been around
for so long. Before you could move around, basically, and now you can't move around again, so they've gone back to that restricted platform.
I think until they figure out the whole kind of motion sickness and movement thing, like something where you're in a fixed point is definitely the way to go with VR. But yeah, anyway,
we've been talking about VR
we've been
for
talking about a lot of VR.
While.
It's a lot of VR.
I'm surprised we aren't sponsored by like Vive yet or something.
We should be
yet.
So, do you know what I mean?
Hello HTC, if you're watching. Rob at disciplerex.com. So let's move on to some music. So Josh, we've got a tune from you. Do you want to introduce it? It says Whip Final 3.mp3 on the player. Do you want to give us some more information? Or
It's literally called Whip.
Sick.
The Disciple Podcast. Brush twice daily to avoid cavities.
So I guess one last thing I'd quite like to talk about before we run out of time is, and bear with me here, social media, is it a phase? And bear with me because I have a reason for saying this. So I can't think of many technologies that in the kind of grand scheme of things or trends that have stood the test of time. And it's kind of hard for me to imagine social media not being a thing. But in the capacity that we kind of currently use it and this kind of narcissistic kind of obsession. I mean, I'm not talking about so much in terms of the world of music promotion, because obviously that's a completely different thing. But I'm in terms of like mainstream kind of like, look at me culture, if you know what I mean. Because it's definitely, it's very different in a kind of cultural level beyond just the technological level of stuff we've been through before. And like, I've never seen anything before Facebook that has kind of captured like normal people to this extent. Like obviously MySpace was kind of a very subsect and all these different things, but Facebook is a thing that everybody and their dog has. Yeah. But do you guys, where do you guys see this in like 10, 20 years?
Well, okay, so my only like parallel and comparison that we can actually make to this is WeChat, right? So in China, they've got however many billion users on WeChat. So it doesn't really matter what the platform is. I feel like technology is always going to lead us towards social media. We have it now. We had phones. We didn't stop using them. We had fax machines. We didn't stop using them. I think
we did.
Yeah. So once we have something, we're not going to... I can't see it's going to stop influencing. I think the behavior is going to get worse. It's a weird thing to say, but when I go to China and you're on WeChat and you don't see all of the nonsense media stuff that you see over here that people are influenced by.
I've got some Chinese friends. I see a lot of very... Oh, I see. You're talking about the main... Right,
yeah,
sorry.
So like Kim Kardashian, that kind of stuff. They don't have like gossip all day, every day. It's kind of banned or like restricted in a certain way. It's not the worst thing ever.
There's a lot of kind of government enforcement of kind of like reputable behavior. I know that much. There was that film star recently. There was some kind of controversy and she just like just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, they banned,
but she was
gangster rap is like completely
they banned Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
Because Peppa Pig is gangster. Yeah, they banned Peppa Pig and they banned Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
they banned Winnie the Pooh because a picture of Xi Jinping and Obama, where basically he kind of got ridiculed off the back of that. So they're like, we'll just ban Winnie the Pooh. Fuck it.
Bizarre. That's
full country ban.
Yeah, when I was in China in August, they were still selling Peppa Pig shirts. So that's like,
dude, you can get anything. I mean, the thing is, like, even if you ban something in China, it's like, is it banned?
No, but like, if I had to go back, I would wear a Peppa Pig shirt, but I would not wear a Winnie the Pooh shirt. If
that's definitely
so
more
I
edgy.
just wanted to know if Peppa Pig is at the level now.
I don't really know. I mean, I saw a lot of Peppa Pig shit last time, but I also saw a lot of Suprom stuff and all kind of
some guckies.
Some gucky, all kinds of interesting
I love it
stuff, which is definitely not legal.
I love it when you go to Japan though, and it's just like you're at the Spins, and it's the knockoff Supreme, but it just says like super shit or something in the same font.
Oh man, I see. It almost becomes like a postmodern kind of art thing. After a while, I saw this one. I saw every single logo you can possibly imagine on one T-shirt in a shop in Shanghai earlier this year. And it was like, Louis Vuitton, Gucci,
all together on one shirt.
All of them on one shirt.
That's a back-to-back.
But at that point, it's more like it's like kind of I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sounding like some kind of like copyright infringement evasion lawyer here, saying it's a tribute rather than actual copyright theft. But,
yeah, it kind of is. The thing is, it does actually invoke some pretty good stuff, especially with technology, because like they don't have any copyright laws on quite a lot of their technological advancements over in China. So anyone could make it. It's like if you can make it, you can make it, and it's kind of made everyone like step their game up a little bit. So maybe it's not the worst thing to have such like open copyright laws.
You're talking to a record label owner here, so watch your words here, Josh.
That's true.
Anyway, so back to social media. So
I also had a thought on that, just because of, I mean, there's like lots of things you have to think about. One of my favorite things is like in like the change of social media over time is the moment where the next generation has access to that social media and their parents are on it,
which makes so weird.
Exactly, which makes it. I mean, that's already obviously happening with
There's
Facebook a lot. Lots of people I know in Germany, for example, my girlfriend's younger brother wouldn't be on Facebook that much, and then they rather tend to only use something like WhatsApp and not even have like a Facebook profile. It would rather be Twitter, maybe not even Twitter, just Instagram and WhatsApp rather than Facebook.
Got you. I mean, the reason I brought it up partly is because I myself have found myself pretty much not really having any interest in social media anymore. Like I love Messenger. I think it's the best communication platform the world has ever seen, because you'll never lose touch with people if you have Messenger. You can always find people. No, you have to worry about changing. And I don't really give a shit about all the digital privacy stuff. I mean, like, I don't.
No secrets.
Yeah, it's
as Elon Musk said, the CIA does not give a shit about what kind of porn you watch. There is really, it does not matter about, to me personally.
What kind of porn do you watch, Rob?
Good question.
Right, so
we're gonna end the podcast here.
The Disciple Podcast. Brush twice daily to avoid cavities.
I didn't expect that, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, well. So, self-driving cars.
Yep.
That's a thing.
That is a thing. 2025, I think they're saying, is like, that's it. That's all normal driving ones gone. If they wanted to.
I recently had that. I was at an airport and I was ordering an Uber, and there was like, you might be picked up in a self-driving.
They do it at Domino. Oh, were you in Pittsburgh?
I didn't know, it wasn't Pittsburgh, but it was like they also said it's going to be two people who monitor it in the front still.
That's sick.
But yeah,
I want to do that.
I don't remember what it was.
because they have to federally. They have to have someone like to take over. But that's going to get phased out. They're hitting it like level 3 or level 4 autonomy is like when it's like.
It's already 50 times safer than a human.
Exactly. This is the thing. I think this is absolutely inevitable. Yeah. I mean, you have to acknowledge that people are going to lose jobs here in the industry.
But that's just Rockstar cans.
Yes.
Delicious Rockstar.
Tastes like success.
Buy Rockstar.
No.
You're listening to the Disciple Podcast. Yep, it's pretty good.
But yeah, no, I think it's a good thing. I've been in a self-driving, not fully self-driving, but a Mercedes S-Class that has it'll drive 100% for you on a highway, and it's pretty insane. I hired a Jetta last month that had like the whole dynamic cruise control and all this kind of shit.
I think if I'm going to get a car, I'm going to get the Tesla. I think like as soon as they're available,
the Model 3.
Yeah.
It's a good price point. You just need to make sure that you've got a way of running a power cable out of your house to charge it.
Yeah, well, I'm opposite a electric charging point for cars.
Even
so I can
better.
Is there one? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay,
yeah,
I have no
that whole big. It looks like a big petrol station, but it's not. It's an electric charging spot. So I'm tempted to, because I looked on finance and not that much, and I want my car to drive me around because I'm lazy. So
it's great. Well, when they have all of the remote recall stuff they're going to be bringing in a few years, you can just go to LAX and it will come to you, which is just fucking mind blowing.
Yeah.
Apparently, when you're not using it, it can run as an Uber service for you and earn money for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have 10 of them.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
People will have fleets.
Yeah, your little Android car fleet. Oh my
exactly.
god!
The idea is that they're going to be using Tesla vehicles to prop that. They're going to basically be launching an Uber competitor, I think, and they use their vehicles and customer cars. This is genius for them.
It is,
they sell you a car.
Yeah.
So you buy the car,
and they'll take a cut of your earnings
and
as
then
well.
they run the car sharing service.
Yeah.
That is genius. Yeah, you can't knock Elon Musk, can you?
No, that's a future I want to be involved in, and the boring thing that he's doing underneath LA as well. I'm like,
I think that launches next month, and you can use it for free or like $1. Like they're running like kind of just. It's near the what's that? What's the name of that museum? To the west, the really famous. What? No, the one on the hill.
The Getty.
Yes, the Getty. Up by there, they've got like a test tunnel. It's like a couple of miles long.
Where's it go? Is it for cars only?
I'm not sure because I know the idea is they're going to have these kind of like roller skate things your cars go on.
That's it.
But
I don't know if that's
what
ready
they're
yet.
going to have running next month because that's very soon. But I know that it was either like $1 or it was free.
Go on, Elon, change it. I don't want to sit in fucking traffic anymore. Do it.
No more traffic in LA.
Save the world, Elon, please.
Yeah, well, anyway, I think we're going to have to call it there. We could chat for hours, guys.
Yeah, I really want to play some Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, we're going to do the live stream now. So, if you haven't already, guys, make sure you go on twitch.tv/DiscipleHQ.
Wait, I wasn't listening there. Can you repeat that for me one more time?
The address was twitch.tv/DiscipleHQ.
Lovely.
And we'll see you then.
You're listening to